Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about why Formula One, the fans, the sport, they're so cutthroat towards second drivers. After Hamilton's recent move to Ferrari, I've seen a lot of talk about the move. I've made a video about the move, but one of the things that I've noticed is that there is just no talk of science. Science has been cast to the side. Almost like everyone forgot that Hamilton's shock move for Ferrari meant that Sainz, a driver that wasn't even performing badly, the only driver other than that's not a Red Bull to get a win in 2024, would lose his seat. And whether you think this is fair or not, I personally think that although Hamilton going to Ferrari is great, if you put it on balance, individually, as a case, Sainz didn't do what is necessary to lose a seat. He wasn't performing badly, he was pretty consistent. I would have it the last 22 and 23, him and Charles being very close together, although I would say that at the beginning of 2022, Sainz did get off to a slow start, but I wouldn't say that he should have lost his seat because of it. And that is just the cutthroat nature of Formula One. Formula One is such a brutal sport. You just can't predict your next move. And I would say other cases of drivers being treated pretty harshly by the sport or fans would be either Valerie or Perez. Now, obviously they're for different cases. I would start with Valerie. Valerie got treated very poorly by fans, mainly because they wanted to see someone usurp the domination of Hamilton. And because Valerie wasn't doing that season on season, he got a lot of hate by fans. Fans always said Valerie was bad, either because they wanted to diminish Hamilton's achievement of beating him, or they just didn't like him in general. And obviously Perez, the most recent case of this, everyone's been asking for Perez to lose his seat. And to be fair, Perez has been performing pretty badly, but Perez is a very solid driver that did in fact just lose his mojo a bit last season. Well, a bit more than a little bit, but he did lose himself a lot last season. That doesn't mean that he's not to the standard, because as we saw in glimpses in 2021, 2022, and even in the early stages of 2023, Perez can deliver. Now, sometimes I do get it. Drivers perform badly and they lead to domination of the other. You don't want a driver pairing in which one is so vastly outperforming the other. And especially if that driver is at the front of the grid like Max, you wouldn't want someone like Perez to just sit back and try and hold on. You would want him to go forth and get into the team. And not only that, there can be other drivers that are not in championship winning cars that may be deserving of faster cars. Think Lando Norris a few years ago when he just needed a championship winning car. George Russell when he was at Williams putting in blinding performances, or even Alex Albon right now, who really and truly deserves to be in a top quality car. And then you have people like Stroll who continuously get into places they probably shouldn't be through to means because of access they really truly shouldn't have. And to be honest, I think we need to cut them some slack because the main drivers make it look so easy. I know it's really early to say, but in my opinion, Max Verstappen is going to become one of the greatest drivers of all time. He's going to be up there with Sebastian Vettel. He's going to be up there with Lewis Hamilton. He's going to be up there with Michael Schumacher. On raw pace, he is frightening and he's just a sight to behold. So when you have a driver like Perez that can't keep up with him, well, of course he can't. Max is beating even people in his own generation. We all know Max will probably beat Russell, he'll beat Leclerc, he'll beat Norris in a fair fight. Now, why do we hold Perez in a different standard to that? Drivers like Alonso make drivers like Stroll look even worse than they are. And I guarantee you, if it wasn't Alonso in that car, maybe that Aston Martin doesn't get as many podiums as it did last season, and it doesn't look as good as it did last season. The case I'm trying to make is that maybe we should give a lot more slack to second drivers because it really isn't easy. It isn't easy to go against top drivers in top teams that have been there for a while, or that have been around top teams and have been around winning wins and championships. It's a big, fast-paced environment, and not everyone is cut out for it. And not everyone can adapt so quickly. And some teams rely on that. Some teams rely on that second driver to play that second role because you don't get a Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, an Alain Prost, Senna. And that dynamic works for them, and it works for a reason. We want the second driver to always challenge the first driver because we want to see the most racing possible. We don't want to see teams holding back. We want to see teams fighting each other tooth and nail. But the teams aren't wired that way either. So to end the video, I would just like to say that I hope Sainz can get a competitive seat for 2025. And maybe we should just cut some slack to these drivers.